All right, this is the last part of stuff that we're going to do before your test on Thursday. All right, I'll give back quizzes, but your test is going to be very, not that it's going to be short. There's just, some of these probably take a long time. But we're going to do partial fraction decomposition, back substitution, and the ordered triple thing, and then one, possibly, or two of these. This is solving systems of equations, three variables. There's two parts to it. You're going to first get it into row echelon form, which means one, the first equation has three variables, second equation has two, the third equation has one, and then back substitution. And the way that you do that, all right, let's write down these notes. Number one, your first equation needs to start with a positive 1x. If it doesn't, you need to do something to get it to be positive 1x, meaning you can change the order of the equations. If everything is divisible by a number, you can divide everything, something like that. But your first equation has to start with a positive 1x. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take equation 1 and 2 and eliminate x's. You'll see this in a second. Then you're going to take equations 1 and 3 and eliminate x's. Then you're going to take these two that you just did and you're going to eliminate y. And I will show you this in 1 second. Now, some of you are going to say, do I have to do the same thing every time? You don't. There's different ways to do this. But if you just follow these same steps every single time, it makes your life a little easier. So the first thing we're going to do, you look at your set of equations. First thing I always do is make sure all of the x's are first, the y's are second, the z's are third. Yeah? Okay. Does your first equation start with a positive 1x? Yes, so then there's nothing you have to do. You can just come over here and you can rewrite that. That's your first equation. X plus y plus z equals -1. All right, so your first equation should have three variables. Your second equation should have two. The way that we do that, what is our step number 2 set? It says take equation 1 and 2 and do what? Eliminate the x's. So I'm going to write them down. X plus y plus z equals -1. And then you have x minus y plus 5z equals 5. Everybody with me? Now, if you were going to eliminate your x's, what would you multiply one of your equations by? All right, so are you guys okay if I just go through here and just say multiply everything by a negative? So negative, positive, negative, negative. Everybody okay with that? All right, so if we eliminate our x's, the x's go away. What's y plus y? 2y. What's z minus 5z? Minus 4z equals, what's -1 and a -5? -6. There is your second equation. You're going to write it right over here. So the second equation is 2y minus 4z equals -6. Everybody with me? Now I need one more equation, and I need it to say one variable. So the way that we do that, it's a two-step process. You're going to take 1 and 3. So x plus y plus z equals -1. 5x plus y plus z equals 19. And we're going to eliminate the x's. So what am I going to multiply my top equation by to get my x's to cancel out? -5? All right, through the whole thing. So this becomes -5x, -5y, -5z equals +5. Everybody with me? Okay, so that's gone. So my x's cancel. What's 1y minus 5y? -4y. Z minus 5z, -5z, equal, oops, sorry, 4, right? Equals, what's 19 and 5? 24. All right, now I wanted my last equation to have just one variable. What do you think I do with these two that are left over? Can I combine these two? And get rid of, yes, that's exactly what we're going to do. It doesn't matter what you put on top, what you put on bottom. Just make sure your sign's right. So negative 4y minus 4z equals 24. So just like we set up here, we took 1 and 2, eliminated the x's. That gave me my second equation. Then I took 1 and 3, eliminated the x's, and I had 2 equations left over. Then I took those 2, and I'm going to eliminate the y. So what would you multiply the top equation by to get y's to go away? What number? 2. Okay. So 2 times 2 is 4y. 2 times the negative 8z equals negative 12. What's negative 4, negative 8? Negative 12z equals, what's 24 minus 12? All right, so 24 minus 12 is 12, and then Anthony, that's where you got the 1 from, yeah? So z equals negative 1. So I come up here, and that is the last part of my answer, z equals negative 1. Now that we have those 3 equations, can we figure out what the ordered triple is? How would I do that? You plug in, use your back substitution. So I'm going to take this z and plug it in. So 2y minus 4 times negative 1 equals negative 6. So 2y plus 4 equals negative 6. Subtract 4 from both sides. So 2y equals negative 10. What's y equal? Negative 5. Good. And then to find x, I have x minus 5 minus 1 equals negative 1. So x minus 6 equals negative 1. Add 6 to both sides. What does x equal? X equals 5. So how would you write your answer? 5, negative 5, negative 1. And what can you do in order to make sure that you're correct? You can plug it back in. All right, so I can't give you guys 5 of those, right? They're a little lengthy, but I will promise you that when it works out, you should be able to, you might get like z equals 1/2 or something like that. You will not get a crazy fraction like negative 137 over 11, where you then have to go back in and do the back substitution, all that. That will not be the case. All right, so let's do another one. I have 2 more examples. I just want to do these with you, okay? Now think about what the first rule is. What's the first thing you have to do? Your first equation needs to start with what? Positive 1x. What do you notice about the first equation here? The x is positive, but where is it? Right, it's at the end. Guys, make sure stuff is in order. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this first equation as x plus y minus 2z equals 2. Do you guys agree with me? I did not change the value whatsoever, but you have to rearrange stuff. Don't just keep it in the order that it's in because it matters. The x's are first, y's are second. Everybody agree? Okay, so I'm going to pretend like that's not there anymore. We're good. So if my first equation starts with a positive 1x, perfect. If for some reason that wasn't the first one, you can always move it. If it was the one at the bottom, you could move it to the top. So I'm going to rewrite x plus y minus 2z equals 2. All right, so what do? How do we figure out that second equation? We take which 2? First and the second. So x plus y minus 2z equals 2. And then my second equation is 3x minus y minus 5z equals 8. I like to try and stay as organized as possible. So if I'm going to eliminate x's, guys, what do I multiply my top equation by? Negative 3 through the whole thing. So negative 3x minus 3y plus 6z equals negative 6. Everybody agree? All right, so that top equation is gone. We don't have to worry about it. 3x and negative 3x is 0. Negative y, negative 3y is negative 4y. Negative 5 plus 6 gives me plus 1z. And then 8 minus 6 is 2. Everybody agree? All right, there's your second equation. You eliminated the x's, got your second equation of negative 4y plus z. So negative 4y plus z equals, what was it? 2. Okay, perfect. Now I need my last equation to just say z equals. what do I do? What's the first step? Eliminate. Which ones do I use? I'm going to take 1 and 3, and I always do it right next to each other, so I remind myself, ooh, when I do this, then what I have left over, I put together to eliminate. So my bottom is 2x plus y plus 2z equals negative 7. All right, if I'm going to eliminate x's, what do I multiply the top equation by? Negative 2, perfect. So negative 2x minus 2y plus 4z equals negative 4, correct? Okay. So my x's cancel. I have negative y plus 6z equals negative 11. Okay. Now what do I do? What do I do with those two that I had left over?
Wait, I have a question.
Yep.
Since 1 and 3, does these already cancel out? Can you cancel that out before?
I would not start, I would go in order. I would do your x's first, because when you start doing that, then yes, you mathematically sometimes, Faith, that will work out. But it's just easier to get in one specific pattern that you do it, just do it the same way every time. So now I take these two and I do what with them? I'm going to combine them and get rid of the y's. So it does not matter what you write on top, what you write on bottom. I'm just going to write negative y plus 6z equals negative 11. What was the other one? Negative 4y plus z equals 2. Okay. All right, so what am I going to multiply the top equation by? Negative 4, right? Why is it negative 4? Because I want the y's to cancel. So negative 4 and negative, so 4y. Negative 4 and 6 is minus 24z, right? And negative 4 and negative 11 is? Negative times the negative is a positive. Good. Really careful with your signs, guys. So that top equation is no longer there. Now when we combine, what's negative 4y, positive 4y? 44. I'm sorry, I'm thinking ahead. My bad. Thank you. I'm trying to go fast. It's not good. Sorry. Negative 4y, positive 4y. What is it? What happens to negative 4y, positive 4y? Okay. What about 1z and negative 24z? What's 44 plus 2? 46. So some of you guys are like, oh, God, these numbers are big. I don't know about that. Don't freak yourself out. If I divide both sides here by negative 23, what does z equal? What kind of 2? Negative 2. Very important, guys, your signs. I told you, you might get 1/2. You might get 3/4, but you will not get like 46 over negative 29 and then be expected to go back and do your substitution there. So just be careful. So my last equation here is z equals negative 2. That is the first part of my answer. Now what do I do with that information to find out what my ordered triple is? We're going to plug it back in. That's the easy part. So I'm going to come over here and say negative 4y minus 2 equals 2. Yeah? So negative 4y equals, if I add 2 to both sides, I get 4. Agreed? Divide by negative 4. So what does y equal? Negative 1, okay. And then I'm going to take my y and my z and plug it in to find x. So x minus 1 minus 2 times negative 2 equals 2. So x minus 1, what's negative 2 and a negative 2? Positive 4, good. So negative 1 plus 4 is 3 equals 2. We're going to subtract 3 from both sides. Yep. What's x equal? If I subtract 3 from both sides, what's x equal? Negative 1. So what is your ordered triple, ladies and gents? Negative 1. Then what? Negative 1. Then what? Negative 2. Good. So there is your answer. Is this the greatest thing ever? No. But if you do the same thing every time, it's not bad. Yes, ma'am?
Will there ever be in the first one z before y?
every now and again, you still solve it the same way. The second equation, the first equation should have 3 variables. The second one should have 2, and the last one should have 1. So yes, you might get every now and again where you get like x and z, and then the last one says y. But generally, it goes in order. All right, let's look at the last one. All right, this is not any harder. This isn't anything you guys can't handle. But I look here and I say, okay, are all of my x's, my y's, and my z's in order? Yep, okay. Does my first equation start with a positive 1x? No. Oh, do any of them start with a positive 1? No. So now there's something you can do. There will always be something you can do. What is there an equation that I could multiply or divide through and get rid of a coefficient of x? The second one. What could I divide everything in the second equation by? What kind of 3? Let's go by a -3, because if I do that, that makes my leading coefficient what number? Positive 1. So I'm going to say negative divided by negative gives me x plus 4y minus 6z equals what? Negative 15. Do I now have a positive 1x coefficient to start with? Yes. Now, rewrite the other two. It does not matter what order you put them in. You can put either one of them could come before the other. It doesn't matter. I'm just rewriting them so they're both there. Very, very important that you take your time. Notice I've made 2 silly mistakes just because I'm trying to go fast. But you can reorder the equations at any time you want to. If you notice when you start, if you notice that one equation can be divided by the same number all the way through to make your number smaller, go ahead and do that. But I have positive 1x to start with, so that's my initial equation. X plus 4y minus 6z equals negative 15. So what is the process? What do I do with, how do I solve to find my second equation? What do I take? Which 2 equations? First and second, 1 and 2. So I write x plus 4y minus 6z equals negative 15. Good. And then 4x minus y plus z equals negative 3. And I'm going to multiply my top equation by negative 4. Agreed. So I have negative 4x minus 16y plus 24z equals, what's 15 and 4? 60? Okay, so positive 60. That equation's gone. So if we combine, negative 4x and positive 4x cancel. I have negative 17y plus 25z equals 57. All right. Does that seem a little yucky? That's okay. So there's your second equation. Negative 17y plus 25z equals 57. Now let's just say all 3 of those were divisible by 5. If you wanted to divide everything by the same number and it simplifies, you can do that, but you don't have to. Now I got to work on my last equation. I need just 1 letter. So there's 2 steps to get this one. What do I do? What's the first step I do? You take 1 and 3. Perfect. And like I said, I always write them right next to each other so I remind myself, okay, that's the first step done. Now I combine the last 2 to get the last equation. Negative 2x plus 3y minus 5z equals negative 11. Okay, what am I going to multiply my top equation by? Okay, negative 2. Good. So, no, positive, right? Because we want them to cancel. So 2x plus 8y minus 12z equals negative 30. You guys agree? Okay, so x's cancel. 11y minus 17z equals negative 43. Yes or no? 41. 41. Duh. Now what? What do I combine? I'm going to take this one and this one. And again, it doesn't matter I'm going to put negative 17y plus 25z equals 57. Put that on top. And on the bottom, 11y minus 17z equals negative 41. All right, I want to get rid of y. So what am I going to multiply what by? Can I just multiply this by 11 and this by negative 17? Will that have everything cancel? Okay, so help me out, guys. What's 17 times 11? Please don't wait for somebody else to do this. How much? So negative 187y. What's 25 and 11? Plus 275z equals, what's 57 times 11? 627, okay. Why did I put a z on it? All right, now on the bottom, what's negative 17 times 11? Let's just make it positive so it'll cancel. So 187, why? What's 17 and negative 17? Negative 289. And then what's 17 and negative 41? What's it, one more time?
697.
697, yeah? Okay. All right, so now let's combine. My y's cancel. What's 275 minus 289? What is it? Negative 14, okay. What's 627 minus 697? Negative 70. All right. Divide both sides by negative 14. And z equals what? Positive 5. Now, did these numbers get big? Yes. Did you start to probably think, oh, God, where did I made a mistake? That's okay. Guys, just trust yourself. Take your time. You can use your calculator. Trust yourself. So we just figured out here that z equals 5, correct? Z equals 5. That's the first part of my answer. Now, the second part of my answer is going to be using back substitution to figure out what the other numbers are. So I'm going to take my 5 and I'm going to say negative 17y plus 25 times 5 equals 57. So negative 17y. What's 25 times 5?
125.
Plus 125 equals 57. Subtract 125 from both sides. Negative 17y equals negative 68. Divide both sides by negative 17. And what does y equal?
142. Negative 142. Or positive.
Divide.
Oh.
Negative divided by negative is a, so positive 4, okay? And then lastly, we're going to find out what x equals. So we have x plus 4 times y, so 4 times 4, minus 6 times 5 equals negative 15. So x plus 16 minus 30 equals negative 15. What's 16 minus 30? What kind of 14? So minus 14 equals negative 15. I'm going to add 14 to both sides. One sec. X equals what? Negative 1. So what is your ordered triple, guys? Negative 1, 4, and what? 5. Now, what can you do with that ordered triple to make sure that you're right? Plug it back into the original. But don't freak out if you start to get really big numbers. Where you should freak out is if you come to a problem and you get at the answer z equals negative 101 over 53. That's not the case. You did something wrong. If you get z equals 1/2, okay, fine. But generally, you'll get whole numbers. So please don't freak out, but just practice this. I will post a test review sometime. If not this afternoon, I'll definitely do it tomorrow so you guys can work on it a little bit. But that's what we're going to do Wednesday in class. Just kind of review stuff. Go over, this sort of stuff, and then you take your test on Thursday.
Are you